Michigan medicine restricts gender-affirming care for minors.
The National Guard is deployed to Memphis, Tennessee.
All this and more on the premiere episode of Maizewire.
I'm Isabella Puccio.
And I'm Sage Louder.
Late last month, Michigan medicine halted hormonal therapies and puberty blockers for trans youth. The decision comes after federal pressure. The University of Michigan was one of many institutions across the country that received a federal subpoena as part of a criminal and civil investigations into gender-affirming care for minors. This decision left families with children who were already receiving these treatments concerned with the future of their care.
Over 100 people showed up on September 11th to protest the recent announcement by Michigan Medicine. Protesters lined up on Fuller Road and Medical Center Drive with transgender flags yelling chants that condemned the recent change. Protesters were joined by local politicians, community leaders, and even hospital officials.
Michigan Medicine has mentioned that they will provide all other types of appropriate care. They also outlined their dedication to offering social work consultations, providing connections to community resources, and transferring patients to providers outside of U of M Health if desired.
Conservative commentator Charlie Kirk was shot last week at Utah Valley State University after speaking to students for the nonprofit Turning Point USA. This shooting has led to concerns and worries about the rise of political violence, especially after Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman was killed in her home along with her husband this past June.
After Kirk was shot on site, the police took George Zinn into custody. Zinn claimed that he had shot Kirk. Once he was arrested, it was found that he did not commit the crime and was taken to a hospital for his condition. While Zinn was not charged for the shooting, he was charged with obstruction of justice and the sexual exploitation of a minor after a search of his devices.
Just yesterday, Tyler Robinson was formally charged with the death of Kirk. Prosecutors are now seeking the death penalty for Robinson. He has not yet been appointed an attorney, but his public defender is likely to be chosen in the coming days. This story is ongoing.
After deploying the National Guard in D.C. and Los Angeles, President Trump is now moving on to doing the same in Memphis, Tennessee. The president has cited that this is an effort to crack down on crime. This action faced both criticism and legal issues in both LA and D.C. But due to conservative leadership, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee has welcomed this campaign.
However, the mayor of Memphis, Paul Young, has criticized this decision, citing that he does not think this is the way to drive down crime. President Trump has also spoken about deploying the National Guard to other cities, such as New Orleans, Chicago, and St. Louis.
Former CDC Director Susan Monarez testified before the Senate today. Her testimony, alongside other former CDC employees, outlined the concern over current vaccination recommendations made by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. This testimony comes after Monarez was fired and is also being delivered just a day before the CDC's influential vaccine panel will vote on whether to delay or restrict access to shots that protect children against contagious diseases.
Others, such as Deborah Howry, former chief medical officer, testified that Kennedy censored CDC science and politicized the process. Kennedy was not in attendance, but thanked senators who were in agreement with his decisions on X, formerly known as Twitter. The testimony ended with many calling for higher transparency in vaccine policy.
Co-founder of Ben & Jerry's, Jerry Greenfield, has quit his role with the ice cream brand. Other co-founder Ben Cohen shared a statement on behalf of Greenfield, accusing the parent company, Unilever, of censoring Ben & Jerry's ability to speak out about political and social issues.
A company spokesperson has mentioned attempting to engage in constructive conversation with founders on how to strengthen Ben & Jerry's statements. The parent company has allegedly stopped social media posts on topics such as abortion, climate change, and universal health care because they mentioned President Donald Trump. After feeling like the brand identity was synonymous with political statements, Greenfield chose to quit.
That concludes this episode of Maizewire. I'm Isabella Puccio.
And I'm Sage Louder. We'll see you next week on Wolv TV Maizewire. And please follow us on Instagram at Wolv TV UMich for more. Thanks for tuning in.